Remember the day so clearly. It was a Saturday morning, and the house was quiet. Except for the soft hum of cartoons coming from the living room where Orson was sitting. I had misplaced my watch again, and was rifling through the drawer of our bedroom dresser convinced I'd find it buried under the usual clutter. Instead, my fingers grazed something. Unexpected, a small velvet box, curious. I pulled it out and opened it. Inside was a necklace, not just any necklace. This one was elegant, expensive looking, with a delicate chain and a pendant that caught the light like it held a secret of its own. My first thought was simple. It must be a gift for me. Maybe for our anniversary next week. I smiled, thinking about how my wife had always been thoughtful with surprises, but even then, there was a shadow of unease lately. She'd been distant. She'd started spending more hours at work, often glued to her phone, and seemed distracted during family dinners. I chalked it up to stress or exhaustion. Still, I closed the drawer and decided to let the necklace be, convincing myself it was nothing more than a sweet surprise waiting for the right moment. A week later, our anniversary came and went. We had dinner, at home, a quiet celebration with just the two of us after putting our son to bed. She gave me a card and a small gift. Something practical, nothing extravagant, nothing sentimental, and certainly non-necklace. I didn't mention it, maybe. She was saving it for a different occasion. Maybe it wasn't meant for me at all. That thought lingered like a bad aftertaste, but I shook it off. We had always trusted each other. That was the foundation of our marriage, or so I believed. Over the next few weeks, the small signs became harder to ignore. She started guarding her phone, keeping it face down on the table. She'd stay late, at work more often than usual, and when I'd ask about her day, her answers felt rehearsed, like she'd already prepared them. Then there was her laughter, not with me, but at her phone. I'd catch her smiling at messages, her face lighting up in a way that used to be reserved for our private jokes. When I asked her what was so funny, she'd wave it off with a casual, just something from work. And yet, every time I remembered that necklace, I felt a pang of doubt. It wasn't like her to keep secrets, and it wasn't like me to question her. But the silence between us was growing, stretching into something heavy and uncomfortable. It happened by accident one evening. I was scrolling through photos on her laptop, trying to find a picture of our son from his school play. I clicked on a folder labeled Events and began browsing. That's when I saw it. A picture of her at what looked like a company party. She was dressed in a sleek black dress, her hair styled perfectly, and around her neck with a necklace. That necklace, the one I'd found in the drawer. She was standing next to a man I didn't recognize, smiling, a way that made my stomach churn. His arm was casually draped around her shoulder, and they looked comfortable too. Comfortable. My heart sank. I stared at the screen, hoping I was wrong. Hoping there was an innocent explanation. But deep down, I knew that necklace wasn't for me. It had never been for me. I spent the next 2 days in a fog, unsure of what to do. Confronting her meant opening a door I couldn't close. What if I was overreacting? What if I wasn't? Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. One evening, after our son was asleep, I asked her to sit down. My voice was calm, too calm. As Eve told her I'd found the necklace weeks ago. I watched her face carefully, looking for any flicker of recognition or guilt. She froze. "Who is he?" I asked, sliding the laptop across the table to show her the photo. She stared at the screen. Her hand trembling slightly. For a moment she said nothing. Then she sighed, her shoulders slumping as if a weight she'd been carrying had finally become unbearable. "It's not what you think," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. But it was exactly what I thought. She admitted to meeting him through work, describing it as a mistake, born out of stress and distance between us. She tried to explain, but her words felt hollow, like they were meant to justify the unjustifiable. The days that followed were a blur of anger, heartbreak, and sleepless nights. I kept replaying our life together, in my mind, searching for the moment where everything had started to fall. Was it my fault? Had I been too distracted, too complacent? We tried to talk, but the conversations always ended in the same place, with me staring at the cracks in our foundation and her apologizing, saying she didn't want to lose what we had. But what did we have anymore? The trust was gone, shattered into pieces too small to put back together. In the end, I made the hardest decision of my life. I packed a bag of my son and left not out of anger but because staying felt like betraying myself. I couldn't raise my child in a home built on lies. Starting over was painful. I moved into a small apartment, spent weeks adjusting to a new routine, and grappled with how to explain to my son why his mom and dad weren't together anymore. But slowly I found a sense of peace. Now looking back, I can't help but wonder, did I do the right thing? Should I have stayed and tried harder to fix what was broken, or was leaving the only way to protect myself and my son? What would you have done in my place? Trust is fragile, and when it's broken, the pieces don't always fit back together. But one thing I've learned is that paying attention to the small details, the overlooked signs, can save you from greater pain down the road. If my story resonates with you, I hope it reminds you to listen to your instincts and value the truth even when it's hard to face. Today, I'm focused on building a new life for myself and my son. It's not perfect, but it's honest. And that, I think, is a good place to start. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever faced something similar, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How did you handle it? Let's start a conversation, because sometimes the only way to heal is to share.